Sometimes you have a dream, and after you keep hearing no and you keep hearing no, that dream sort of dies off, right? But what I always tell people is if it keeps coming back, that's your soul talking to you. You have to own assets that make you money while you sleep, that grow while you sleep.
The biggest myth for most entrepreneurs is that they will work on their business and that they will someday sell it, and that will be their retirement money.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 to 9. For my top 10, top 10, 9 to 9. This one's for my top 10.
Need motivation?
Watch the Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something greater inside you. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something. So get ready to persevere, become an owner, and start taking action with David Bach and my take on his top 10 rules of success to give you the confidence, motivation, and belief that you need. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1, persevere.
We did an entire segment on the latte factor together, Oprah and I, where we did a reveal of a young woman who didn't believe she could save any money and showed her what her latte factor was and showed on stage what it could be worth. And that reveal was where we pulled back a sheet that was covering over $250,000 in cash.
Woo.
And the audience did exactly that. It was like, whoa, and it was real money.
Yeah.
And I literally said, I'm sitting next to Oprah, I'm like, this is real money. And it was that aha moment. And I basically came home and I was like, I need to figure out a way to write a story that's shorter, that's simpler, that's easier, a parable. And I literally said to my publisher, I want to write the Who Moved My Cheese of money. I want to write a book that 98% of people won't read a book on money.
Yeah.
I want to write a little tiny story. And they were like, yeah, no, I don't, no.
Right.
Not so much. And so I kept having this idea and I kept year after year throwing it back out there. And year after year they kept saying, no, not so much. And that's what happens sometimes, by the way. You know, people think, oh, you're an artist and you've created a certain amount of success and that people just say yes to you. But it's not always what happens. So I wrote 7 more books before I finally did this one. Sometimes you have a dream. And after you keep hearing no and you keep hearing no, that dream sort of dies off, right? Yeah. But what I always tell people is if it keeps coming back, that's your soul talking to you, right? Like if there's something that you really want to do and it's almost like you can't let it go, that's your soul saying you have to do this.
Yeah.
And I finally hit this point where I'm like, if 10 years from now I haven't done this book, I'm going to have serious regrets.
Rule number 2, become an owner.
On the game of Monopoly, you go past go and you get a paycheck. And if you just go around the properties and you land on them, you pay rent.
Right.
And you can't win the game of Monopoly unless you buy 1 green home, then 2 green homes, then 3 green homes, then 4, then a hotel, right? Like you have to be an owner in the game of Monopoly. The ironic thing is that the game of Monopoly is a great lesson for all of us for life.
Yeah.
You have to own assets that make you money while you sleep, that grow while you sleep. And the challenge for most of America is that this stuff is not taught in school. My grandmother, when she started at 30, she had nothing, and she used to literally save 50 cents a week and put it in a coffee can.
Wow.
And at the end of the year, she took that coffee can down to a brokerage firm and started investing in stocks. That's what changed the entire destiny of my family.
Wow.
Was that my grandmother at 30 with no college education, working at Gimbel's department store in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, got tired of being poor. There's some people watching today that are there, right? They're listening, they're watching this or they're listening to this, and they're tired of being poor. My grandmother was frustrated. And she came home and said to my grandfather on her 30th birthday, Jack, this is not working. Like, and when you're the guy and you hear that, you're like, what do you mean this isn't working? And my grandfather said, what's not working? And she said, we're broke. We don't have any money. And, you know, to my grandmother's credit, she decided to do something about it. And so she literally brown bagged her lunch. Every day, she brown bagged her lunch so she could save that money and go invest.
Rule number 3, start taking action.
The story behind the latte factor goes back to me teaching one of my first classes. And I used to teach a 4-week class on money. And at the end of my 4-week class, as I'm wrapping up the class, getting ready for the big close, you know how that is, I had a young woman named Kim raise her hand and say, oh, sorry about that. That's my phone back there. But that's real life, right? I had a young woman saying to me, you know what, David, I can't do this. I can't pay myself first. I can't save money automatically. These are all great ideas in theory, but I can't do them. And so I was in a classroom literally with a chalkboard. And what I did was go, Kim, look, we've got 10 minutes left in the class. Let me prove to you that you can save $5 a day. Will you play the game with me? And then I asked the class, like, is it okay if we do this for Kim? And everybody was like, yeah, do it. So I walked up to a chalkboard and I started going through Kim's expenses. And remember, Kim had told me she couldn't save any money. She couldn't use her 401k plan. She worked at the Gap. She couldn't pay herself first. And as we're going through her expenses, she's sipping a latte. And so I'm going through her expenses, and it wasn't just lattes. It was a bunch of other stuff. It was all the places she's eating out, and I'm writing all the stuff down on the chalkboard. And I start doing some basic math, and I go, look, Kim, you just need to save $10 a day. You're in your 20s. If you'll save $10 a day, you can be a millionaire by the time you reach retirement. And I calculated the number out for her, and it came out to like $1.7 million. And she sort of looked at me and she goes, are you trying to tell me my latte here is costing me over $1 million? And a woman in the front seat who was kind of aggravated turned around and went, that's exactly what he's trying to tell you. You have a latte factor. And, the class wrapped up and everybody was talking about it. And as I'm walking out of the room, I'm like, I should keep teaching this idea. And so the latte factor was born. And the latte factor is a metaphor. I'm not trying to take people's coffee away. It is a metaphor for, look, $5 to $10 a day could change your life. If you don't believe you can save, you'll never save. $1 a day is a start, right? So if you don't believe you can save, if you don't believe you have the money to be an investor, you'll never invest. And the latte factor is a metaphor to inspire people to realize you have more money than you think, you're richer than you think, and once you realize that, you'll start to take action, and that can change your whole life.
Rule number 4, believe in your dream.
What I tell people who are entrepreneurs, all these people who are watching you, wanting to build their own business, the sales process never ends. You have to believe in your dream more than anyone else, right? If you don't believe in your dream, nobody else can believe in your dream.
Yeah.
And the fact that people will say no to you doesn't mean that no is right. It just means it's not right for them.
Also, if you want to have more confidence, check out my 254 series. It's free. The link to join is in the description below.
Create an outline and a schedule. What I found really helpful for me was to create an outline at the start.
You have to explain why you're the right person to lead. And above all, you have to know your numbers.
You got to separate the vehicle from the outcome. What is it that's going to truly fulfill you? What is it that's going to give you that extraordinary life?
Rule number 5, be patient.
My grandmother, my first book, Smart Women Finish Rich, was dedicated to her. She didn't become rich overnight. She built wealth over her lifetime.
Yeah.
I always say it's decades, not days. People who try to get rich quick stay broke long.
It's true.
It's like, show me those banner ads on how to get rich quick and I'll show you a way to stay poor forever.
Right.
So my grandmother realized, you invest in great American companies and you just keep investing and you leave it and you leave it and you leave it. And she helped me buy my first stock at age 7 in McDonald's.
Rule number 6, pay yourself first.
The biggest myth for most entrepreneurs is that they will work on their business and that they will someday sell it and that will be their retirement money. And so, when you're building a business, I see so many entrepreneurs reinvesting all of their money in their business to grow. And the hopeful expectation that at some point they'll have an exit. And then the exit will be where their retirement and their financial security will come from. And for most entrepreneurs, the truth is that is a fantasy. It just is. I hate to tell you, but it's a fantasy. Most businesses rarely have exits, and they certainly rarely have exits for over $1 million. And we live in a world today where we're always reading about the $1 billion exit. I'm an investor in companies that are having $100 million exits, but they're the exception, not the rule. So what I tell entrepreneurs is you have to also think candidly like you would if you were an employee. And what that means is, if you're an employee, you're not going to have an exit. You know that if I don't use my 401k plan, who knows if Social Security is going to be around in 50 years. If I don't save money in a retirement account, I'm never going to have any money. The problem for entrepreneurs is they don't think like that. And so like 75% of entrepreneurs today, most who are watching this show, actually don't have a retirement account. And they don't have a SEP IRA account, or where you are, it's an RSP or a 401k plan. I see entrepreneurs who set up 401k plans for their employees and they don't use them. So you have to be putting yourself first by paying yourself first. You have to. Now, if you're a smart entrepreneur, and you have a lot of smart entrepreneurs watching this show who don't have employees, there are very specific things you can do. You can open up a solo 401k plan, for an example, in the US. Super simple plan where you can automatically be saving money. You can put up to $55,000 a year away in that plan, tax deductible. You can open a defined benefit plan. Like in the Automatic Millionaire, this year, you can shield $220,000 tax deductible into a defined benefit plan. That's money that you literally like take it, put it away, don't pay taxes with the government. So entrepreneurs often are not taking advantage of those plans, and they should.
Rule number 7, master storytelling.
Stories transform people's lives. Right? Like,
Facts tell, stories sell.
I mean, stories transform people's lives. And I've always had stories throughout my books. But even with all the books that I've sold, the reality is I believe, Marie, that 98% of people will never read a financial book. They need a financial book, right? Like, we're going to talk about the reasons why people need this so much.
Yes.
But most people won't read a book on personal finance.
Yeah.
So I kept asking myself, how can I package something up that somebody can read in an hour that could completely change their whole life when it comes to their money?
Yes.
That could free them to go for their dreams.
Yes.
And then also selfishly, how can I write a book that my 15-year-old son would read?
Rule number 8, think like an investor.
At 7, we're sitting at McDonald's, and she says, David, you can get rich at McDonald's. And I looked at her, I'm like, Grandma, I'm eating my cheeseburger and my French fries, and I have my apple pie. I said, what are you talking about? And she's like, I'm not getting a job here. She's like, see those people over there? They're working for what's called minimum wage. And I think back then minimum wage was like $1.
Nothing.
And she said, it's very hard to make a living on minimum wage. She said, then there's people like you right now, like all these people are coming here and they're eating and they're spending money. That's called a spender. And she said, then there's some people who own this place, and owners get rich. And she said, and I love to play Monopoly at 7. That was my thing. I'd go to my grandmother and she'd play Monopoly with me. And she said, I'm going to teach you how to play Monopoly for real. And she took me home that day. She opened up the Wall Street Journal. She circled MCD. That's the symbol still to this day for McDonald's. And she said, here's how much McDonald's is. She put me in front of a television screen and said, watch the ticker tape. She taught me how to read that ticker tape. And she said, just call out the price on MCD. That's the price of McDonald's. And she said, tomorrow I'll take you down to a brokerage firm and we'll open up an account and you'll buy 1 share of that stock. And then every time you go there, you'll know you're making money from yourself.
Wow.
And that is a wow, right? And it's funny because I'm here in LA with you, but I just went to Disneyland 2 days ago with my son, who's 9. And Disneyland.
Did you buy Disney?
I bought Disney. That was my second stock.
That's amazing.
So like literally at 9, I'm at Disney with Grandma, and I'm like, "Hey Mickey, are you guys public?" Like, because she taught me to think as a child like an investor. Now I'm doing the same thing with my kids. Now my kids don't want to own McDonald's; they want to own Shake Shack.
Right.
So my son owns Shake Shack.
Right down the street.
So I had a brand new one, right? My younger son, after Disneyland, was like, I want to own Disney. His older brother owns Disney. It's doubled. He's like, well, I want to own Disney. My kids own Amazon. So, they're learning like I learned. Now, this stuff should be taught in school. Today, this is the school, right? Today, what we do is another way to teach people. So, but those are simple lessons I just gave you that were passed to me, and we just did that in a matter of minutes.
Rule number 9, diversify.
If you have your money, don't put all your money ever in one basket, right? It's like, please don't put all your money right now in Bitcoin. I see so many young people that are just betting the farm on cryptocurrency. So many people are going to get just really hurt there. It reminds me of the .com days when I was a kid. I think you weren't even born yet, but like the .com days, everybody was going to get rich overnight in .com stocks, and then everybody became poor overnight. So don't ever bet the farm on any one thing. I recommend your assets get divided roughly 1/3 real estate, 1/3 guaranteed investments, and 1/3 diversified in the stock market. That very generic approach is one that never hurts you. And it happens to be, it also gives you a very solid rate of return.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is automate your financial life.
So again, number one mistake people make, they don't automate their financial life. Here's what you need to do. The moment you earn money, assuming you've got a job, assuming you have a business, when that money comes in, it needs to go automatically into a bank account. What is unbelievable to me is that in this day and age, many of you are still getting a physical check. You're taking that check, you're opening it up, you're waiting for it to come to you, you open it up, then you walk it down to the bank, and then you deposit it. By the way, when you do that, you are wasting an average of about 12 hours a year doing that. Ridiculous. You get your money faster if you automatically deposit it. So, you've got to have that money automatically deposited into your bank account. But before that money hits your bank account, you need to funnel off a piece of it. Somewhere between, I would recommend at least 10%, but something. A percentage of money's got to come right from your income automatically into your retirement account. Now that could be an IRA account, that could be your 401k plan, but that's what you have to do. This is called pay yourself first. And folks, if you want to be rich, forget rich. If you just want to have basic financial security, you have to pay yourself first. That means that before you pay the government, before you pay taxes, before you pay your bills, before you pay anyone, the first person who gets paid is you. So money comes right off the top from your income into a 401k plan, into an IRA account. Boom, it's done, whatever you choose. Next, that money is going automatically into your bank account. Now you're going to see here I've got 6 places that your money then moves to automatically. And here's what they are. The next place your money should move to automatically is an emergency account. Now, I recommend that you have at least 5% of your gross income going into an emergency account. What's this money for? Emergencies. You know, I'm on the Today Show every Wednesday, and we talk about these issues, paying yourself first and your emergency account. How much money do you want in your emergency account? You want at least 6 months right now of expenses. I would tell you ideally you'd like to have closer to 24 months. The only way you're going to get that in savings is if you start funding an emergency account automatically. This account should not have a checking account with it, should not have an ATM card. It goes into a separate account that you can't touch. Alright? That's the third bucket. So first retirement, second bank account, boom, it's going into the emergency account. Now this is all being done automatically. The next place it's going into is a dream account. People go, David, what's a dream account? Super simple. When I was a financial advisor, we set up dream accounts for our clients. That could be buying a home, could be a second home, could be college accounts, could be a vacation account. Whatever it is that you've got a dream, something you want to do, money should be moved automatically from your checking account into another account for those dreams. Really simple. Now you've got credit card bills. Your credit card bills, if you've got a credit card account, these should all be paid automatically from your bank account to your credit card company every month. At a bare minimum, you should be making minimum payments on that account automatically every month. So let me explain this to you. I don't want you to just make minimum payments on your credit card accounts, but what I want you to do is make sure that the bank pays the credit card account the minimum amount automatically every month when? Before it's due. People make all kinds of mistakes where they're just out of town, you're busy, something's going on, you miss the bill, and you get hit with $30 late fees, or $40 late fees, or $50 late fees. Just doing this one thing could save you hundreds of dollars a year by not having late fees. So minimum payment automatically paid, then you go in and you make the rest of the payments after the minimum payment that you can make. And that takes me to number 6, which is regular bills. All of your regular bills should be automated. That could be phone bills, utilities, cable. Go through your bills and go, what am I getting billed every single month? Why are you still writing checks for those things? In my life, everything is automated. All of my regular bills are automated. Not just personally, but many of my business bills are automated. I still go online and look at them, but this is all automated. And then the last thing is charity. The importance of giving back. And you can make automatic contributions to charity every single month.
Now I have a special bonus clip from David on how to start young that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Let's go from just watching a video to taking action. Here we go. Question number 1. How can you better automate your financial life? Number 2, what's your dream that you need to believe more in? And number 3, where do you need to just start taking action? And if you like this video and promise you take action after watching it, we don't just watch videos, we take action. Put a hashtag believe down in the comments below, make that promise to yourself, and then get to work.
Young college student, boy, it's so much easier when you start when you're young. So like I have these charts in the book where I show, if you start when you're 19 and you save $2,000 a year and you save it from 19 to the age of 26, and you never save another dollar, and you just let it compound and grow. And then I show somebody who starts at 26 and saves from 26 to 65. The 19-year-old that saved from 19 to 26 ends up with more money than the 26-year-old who saved to 65. So the biggest advice I can give you when you're young is to start young. Even if all you do is go open up a Roth IRA, and again, just start putting $5 a day away. The miracle of compound interest when you're young makes everything so much easier.
If you want to see the top 10 I did on Robert Kiyosaki, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
The last thing I want to talk about debt is one of the best investments I made, because I started off with no money like most people. My first investment was a little $18,000 condo.